My opinion about Ebuka's podcast, Masculinity, very interesting. As a guy, hearing other guys talk about things that guys go through. Now, most people in the community, in the world at large, we rarely talk about guys, their struggles, and the podcast is in the format of guys having beer parlor discussion. You understand that kind of discussion? You would love the sincerity in those discussions. However, Banky W has been too, maybe because he's not a pastor, he's presenting himself as too perfect. I don't see vulnerability like I see in other guys. Bank W will tell you how he does this, blah, 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 blah. Even there was one time somebody referenced Nigeria or developing countries as third world countries. And Bank W, I said, I have issues with that. Baba, what were you expecting them to call Nigeria? A country where insecurity is ravaging the whole country, kidnapping is the order of the day, police can't track kidnappers, no electricity, 24 hours electricity, people in the rural areas can't access healthcare. If there was medical emergency or 15 minutes, do you think you'll be able to get in Nigeria? How do you think they should label such countries? Third world countries. They must have a nomenclature. They must have a category. Show vulnerability. Let's face reality. I just went back and I felt NW is becoming too perfect. Like you're trying to, maybe because you're a pastor now, you're trying to say everything positively. But unlike Ebuka and others, they will tell you their vulnerability, they will show it, like one again, Ike, that popular Ike. He used to work in Redeem FM. He hosts the experience. He was on the platform talking about raising the boy and the girl child in the African context. And he was like, I can't raise my children the same way, boy and girl, that I will raise the boy to be more tough, to face reality of life more than the leader. But in the leader, I said, no, I have issues with that. Like, Baba,
wait now, I'm a teenage son. One bag carrying you. So that move all the boxes, move everything from fridge, move us to the next flat. It was within the same building. And typical young boy was distracted, carrying a few boxes, got distracted, started doing something, and I barked, move the rest of these boxes. We had guests in the house. And they're like, go easy now. I go, we saw him carrying 1 or 2 boxes, and I snapped at all of them. I said, hey, I'm not raising about no puma. And then I called him after he had done everything. I sat him down and said, do you sometimes feel like I'm harder on you than I am on your sister? He said, yes. I said, yes, I am. I said, because life will never be for you what it is for your sister. I would love to.
Now that's an interesting question. So do you feel a responsibility to raise that strength and resilience in your daughter as well?
No, I raised her with some deliberate strength as well to look, don't be dependent on it. Learn to be able to do things for yourself. When you're single, I want you to be able to do things for yourself and travel and buy things and eat out and all that. But for my son, I'm also very particular. I'm like, one, at some point I'm gonna kick you out of this house. This girl can live here for the rest of her life. Yes. That's not fair enough. Let me tell you what. I think it's arguable. Let me tell you what.
Let me ask you something so that you can answer it as you are saying.
Sure.
Somebody might push back on you and say that the world can be very unfair to women and to black women especially.
Very true.
In the workplace, in society, in terms of their need to protect themselves, in terms of their need to fight for what belongs to them, whether it's promotion or wealth or status or whatever. And so if you are so conscious about instilling strength and resilience in your son, but just giving some of it to your daughter, do you feel like you might not be empowering her enough for the world she's also going to face? Because you can't just assume that she will have somebody to protect her the way your son is protected.
But she will if I raise my son right. So here's my thought process.
not be Nigeria with it. We are in Africa. And you're talking about African people, you're not talking about the Western people. There are things that at home women will not do, that men will do. Confirm. If there are things to be carried, very heavy. African man will tell, when there is a boy child at home, will tell the girl to go do it. I can remember growing up, I used to go around 1 a.m. when we had issues with NEPA. NEPA was very close to us at Ikeja, My father would wake me up midnight and say, let's go. And my mom would be like, why are you taking him? Even though I am the last child of the home. I had other sisters, elder sisters sleeping. My dad would wake me up. Baba, let's go to NEPA. Because other houses around us will have light and my father won't be able to sleep. I was like, of course, he had people there in NEPA. He had a relationship then. Why didn't my father wake my sister? I'm not angry. Even me have come to that reality, because if there was any attack, more easier for me to escape than my sister. More easier for me to combat them than my sisters. So, Banky W, those are 2 instances that I can recall at the moment. Because Banky W, what to perfect you, to be sincere. Show us some vulnerability. We are talking about African people. There is no way an African parent will train the girl child and the boy child the same way. There's no way. Even though now everybody's trying to be Western correct, Africa, it is our culture, it is our way of life. We can't alienate ourselves from our culture. That is the way we've been brought up. And today, not that I'm traumatized or I'm hungry because my daddy did not wake my sister. No, I'm even proud of it. I should protect my sisters, as a boy in the house. So it is what it is. The podcast, forget it. You enjoy it as a guy. As a lady, if you want to know how guys, men think, go listen to the podcast. There's a book about think like a man. If you want to think like a man, how your husband, what he thinks, when he's silent, what he's going through his mind, just go listen to that podcast. Ebuka is doing a great job. But Banky W, very great co-host. But Banky W is becoming, utopian situation is not achievable. In the context, is pitting the situations in Africa. So IK for me was right. Absolute 100 times right. No be Ninja. Now, it is what it is. IK, I'm in support of what you've said. Within the African context, no man, no African father will want to train the girl child and the boy child the same way. It's not possible. Let's face reality and let's be African.